You're tuned into Welcome to the Morning Express on Mainland 98.3 FM.
Good morning and welcome to Trends in the Papers on Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos. Today is the beautiful 19th day of August and time check right now is 7:40 a.m. It's time for us to look through the major stories trending on the front pages of our papers this morning. Of course, quite a lot happened over the weekend, and as we do not have trends in the papers over the weekend, every Monday, we try to bring you up to speed as regards all of the major trending stories from over the weekend. And my name is Omobola Sandra. I will not be doing this alone. Fuad Sahid is on standby. He will join us via the phone line to give analysis to the stories that we're going to be treating this morning. But of course, before we go into the stories for today, let's just see what we have from the weekend. We had quite a lot of stories. We'll start off with stories from Weekend Guardian, where the major headline there was, will First Constituent Assembly gift much needed constitutional reforms? It's quite an interesting read. If you want to dig deeper into that, it's on pages 8 and 9 of the Guardian newspaper. But aside from that, across the other papers, of course, is the presidential jet conversation, #End Bad Governance conversation as well, and also the 21 million naira controversy as regards the jumbo allowances accrued to federal lawmakers. That has been a hot topic from last week. But of course, good morning, Fuad. How are you doing?
Good morning, Sandra. I'm good. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm well, thank you very much. I'd like you to join me this morning as we just have a quick recap of the major stories that went over the weekend. We've gotten one of our jets back as regards the Ogun State contract.
The new one. We got the new one back.
Yes, so good news, eh? I mean,
well, good news that at least we paid for something and we're able to get it.
Yes,
that's the good news.
Okay.
But again, there's been raging controversy as to this new presidential jet for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. An Airbus 330 standard. The cost put at $100 million and retrofitted, specifically for the president at another $50 million. And to put all of that together, you have well over 190 billion naira.
Well, since we are currently speaking about, the purchase or the cost of the jet,
yes.
Have you seen the beast? I mean, the Nigerian beast.
Yes.
We have the American beast, where that has, that's what they call the official vehicle of the American president. But we have we now have beast too. We have beast in Nigeria. A Cadillac 2024.
2024 for the president, and I think the first time people were going to have a glimpse of it when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was going to Equatorial Guinea, and then people saw what the beast looks like. 2024 Cadillac Escalade standard also put at close to 1 billion naira, but now at 90-something million naira again for the president. Sandra, a lot of questions again in the minds of ordinary Nigerians, not privileged Nigerians actually. Ordinary Nigerians like you and I, the average Nigerian, not even average Nigerian. I must say that is there any average Nigerian against Sandra? It's either you are down and below or you are up there and privileged really, because what we've seen in the last 1 year or so is a situation where even the middle class is diminishing. We are the middle class as we speak, Sandra. It's either you are up there or you are nowhere. You are down below and up there. Now this is the question, Sandra. Remember that there was an House committee, and I think we discussed it on Political Roundtable yesterday, that was talking about, the president needed a new plane. We had a problem with our presidential airfield. That was the presidential airfield that had about 6 aircraft already. 6 to 7 aircraft.
Yes.
Yes, 6 already. And that the president needed to, because again there were issues of the president also flying commercial aircraft because some of the aircraft were not serviceable. The vice president had to turn back at some point because there was an issue with one of the aircraft, blah, 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 and all of that. And so there was a need for a new presidential aircraft to be bought. And there was a lot of conversation as to the priorities of government, the timing, not even a time where the government is talking about a bankrupt government and what have you. And with this issue of the Chinese using our presidential jet, came the announcement that one of those jets, one of the three, was actually the new one.
Yes,
that has been paid for.
One. Yeah.
And now this is the same presidential jet that the president is to take to France. You know, of course, it was announced yesterday by the president that the president will be going to France. For an official visit. No timing has been given for when the president would return. Because again, we saw that
or even the purpose of the visit.
Really. Okay, there was no clear purpose, and we don't have timing as to when the president is going to return. But what Nigerians are saying, and what aviation experts are saying, is that look, it is most likely, and with what we've seen of this new presidential jet, that plane had been paid for even before the House started announcing that there's a need for the president to buy a private jet, a new jet. Because look, Sandra, it is not easy. One, yes, we might say that it's already in the market, there's a plane to buy. But to retrofit it to meet the standards of the president will take some time. So what people are saying is that look, most likely this thing has been paid for. There was a need to just bring it to the public space, create some sentiment around it. Oh, the president is having problem with his aircraft. The vice president turned back. Oh, there was now a need for the committee to see and discuss it. All stunts, actually, Sandra, to justify the need for the president. But again, the new plane has arrived. And remember that, yeah, it's here already. The president was taking it to France if he had not gone. The second issue is the Cadillac Escalade, Sandra.
The beast.
The beast. Okay, yeah, it's not called the Nigerian beast.
The Nigerian beast. I'm just really intrigued by that name. Carry on, please.
And that's what we've been saying, Sandra, because President Buhari left. I think President Buhari was using the Maybach, the Mercedes Maybach, SSR. Fantastic one. We saw President Buhari ride on those vehicles. What is the thing with this current president not using that vehicle? Is that 142?
I don't know. These are questions that we have been asking ever since, there was a revelation that 21 billion was set aside for the renovation of the vice president's, quarters. So here we are now. Why there has to be a purchase? Well, they've given reasons.
I know what Nigerians are saying. They keep telling us that we should tighten our belts. There was no other way. It's just a tough time that will later pass. We are also, no, Sandra. You can't preach austerity to me and you live in affluence and wastefulness. The profligacy is damning. It's simply just saying Nigerians that look, you have your own reality, we have our own different reality. We have our own different realities, that's what it's saying. But again, that's the story. We have our own beast now, and we have the Airbus 330 retrofitted to meet the standards and the taste of the Nigerian president.
All valued at a little bit over $2 billion. That is that's the hot one as it is at this moment. Now there's just a lot to talk about as regards that one, but then I don't think Nigeria ever disappoints when it comes to having conversation as regards the profligacy, cost of governance and whatnot. There's just a lot, but against that, or against the backdrop of that, despite the fact that we're paying billions to import PMS at this time now, the filling stations are packed. There are fuel queues everywhere. People can hardly get public transport this morning due to the fact that a lot of all these commercial buses are currently, at the filling stations trying to get fuel.
I bought at 900 naira per liter yesterday.
You mentioned that yesterday.
I bought 900 naira per liter yesterday to start with, and it's in the papers today. You can see the excuse NNPCL is giving to us again. I think it was last week they told us that one of the reasons why we have this supply shortfall and we have this scarcity here and there, it is because again the protest disrupted logistics and transportation of this product. Now what they are now telling you now is that there's a problem with offloading this product, from the ships that brought it into the country.
There are also other reports that the marketers are holding. No, they are holding it due to the fact
they are also talking about that. So
yes, that they don't have fresh supply, so they are holding what they have.
See, it's always easy for these guys to manufacture excuses to just cover up for their, for their inefficiency and what have you, failure. They keep coming up with excuses. They are very good at coming up with something. Now, like I was saying yesterday, fix our refineries. You have not been able to do that. If private businessman built his own refinery, give him crude. You have not been able to do it. Okay, fine. It's a taboo for us to run functional refinery. You were supposed to get 20% stake for this refinery. You did only 7.2, only to tell us that you have gone to invest the remaining money in CNG that we have not even seen anywhere. Now import refined petroleum product into the country. That one is also a problem, Sandra. So what exactly can they do? Why must we go through this needless suffering from the hands of these people?
Well, it is really unfortunate. Unfortunately, that's not all. I just need to also quickly rush through. Fuad, there's also this report. I'm sure you've been seeing the story or the report as regards, Nigerian vendors who held a trade fair in the UK. What are your thoughts on that one?
Vendors on what? I think I missed that.
Nigerian vendors. There was a trade fair that was held in the UK by Nigerian vendors that tried to go and sell things over there, and it's caused a lot some controversies as regard. And now some of these vendors are doing online videos begging people to come and purchase, and people are thinking, what was the rationale behind leaving Nigeria to go and sell to people in the United Kingdom in the first place?
Well, whatever is the problem they are facing, that they should face it. Because again, how do you leave your country without a clear idea as to how to sell what you probably got? Maybe there was an exhibition or something, I'll assume, and then you take yourself flight to the UK only for you to now start to beg people to come and buy. Bad business, they have to bear the brunt. I don't think it's something that should bother any Nigerian idea. We are struggling to buy tomatoes and pepper here.
They're struggling to buy. We're struggling to buy a lot of things. For do you know that there's now proliferation of ever since GSK left Nigeria, now there are concerns that inhalers that are in the market at this time now are not
fake.
Yes, they're not safe. Look at that. You are struggling to breathe and then you buy inhaler and then you are inhaling something that you're not supposed to inhale in the first place.
And when GSK was leaving, we said that it was going to be problematic for people with asthma and those kinds. Because again, they were the biggest manufacturers of inhalers and what have you. You understand what I'm saying?
All right. Well, that's that one as well. But have you seen the story for what? Apparently, Labour Party secures the most votes in the local government polls that was held in Bauchi State. The reports coming in that Labour Party did not have a candidate, but it won the election, and because it didn't have a candidate, they had to give it to the next, the next highest, the next political party that had the highest numbers.
Yeah, for Bauchi State, the announcement is that all the local government channel was won by PDP. But I think some councillorship seats went to maybe one or two parties apart from the PDP. I don't know whether that's where the Labour Party has gotten their own vote.
No, but again, the point is, the question I'm asking is, there's no candidate. Why was the party's logo fielded on the ballot paper?
Well, that would be for the Bauchi State Independent Electoral Commission to answer, really. Because again, one would have thought that maybe what they just did was have all the logos of all the parties on the ballot paper. I assume that people wanted to just get into Labour Party. It happened in the last election too.
And it just
a lot of people that voted for Labour Party didn't even know the candidate. Look at the guy that won in the Etiota. House of Rest. Yeah, Etiota. The man was not even known to anybody. He was just one man that was really insane. And they voted for him. So most likely there were people who just wanted to be Labour Party, and they did, and they eventually turned out to be what it is. I really don't know what the law says about the party. An election without a candidate.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. Well,
that automatically means that the next party with the candidate.
No, that's what happened. That's what happened. So there's a particular local council in Bauchi State, I think Ogoro or so, where Labour Party had 2,200 votes, and then the next party after it had 2,136 votes, and then the APC, which is the third. Came third, had about 200 and something votes. So because Labour Party didn't have a candidate, of course, it went to the second highest number, which was PDP. That's Kogoro in Bauchi State. But that's all. Those are major stories that trended over the weekend. We just need to take a quick swipe as regards that. This is Mainland 98.3 FM. We're on to trends in the papers. We're going now full throttle into the major stories for today, 19th August 2024. We'll start with the Punch newspaper. The major headline is food crisis may worsen as flood hits 10 states, and we have riders on that. Farmers groan as floods ravage farmlands in Sokoto, Kano, Kebbi, and 7 others. And SEMA, that's the State Emergency Management Agency, seek government help as drought dry up crops in 4 states and 31 states risk flooding. Just this weekend as well, I read an article that was written by DME Saka as regards the potential of
a crisis in 2025. Yeah.
Thank you very much. And I read it. I was like, what exactly is going on? So when I saw the story this morning, I was like, oh, look at that. Only God knows what may have been going through DME Saka's mind for him to, and I'm still against this backdrop of the flooding conversation. But let's see what we have, on from this particular report on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Flooding following the floods that have ravaged farmlands in the northern part of the country. Agricultural experts and big-time players in the agro-allied industry have sounded the alarm over an impending food crisis across the country as agricultural fortunes dip in the north. Experts are insisting that unless urgent and very drastic steps are immediately taken, the crisis may worsen as floods continue to ravage farmlands in the northern state. So, Fuad, the northern state where we have majority of our farm produce, aside from insecurity, now we're looking at flooding situation, exactly, flooding and environmental issues now. And this was just how many days ago, Fuad, we had a conversation around the very stringent guidelines from the Nigeria Customs Service as regards importation of some agri produce and all of that. So as it is now, some agricultural investors are calling on the government to declare an emergency in the food sector across the country. So what are your thoughts as regards what is what we're projecting as regards food crisis in the country, and also if this would one way or the other soften the hearts of whoever it is or those that are at the top at the NCS to just make things a little bit easier for agro importers?
Well, for the NCS guys, I don't think they understand the enormity of the food crisis we have in the country. I think they are well fed, they have a different reality, so they might not really understand how bad things are for the people really. They live in a different world. I'm sure they live in some galaxy somewhere, and so they may not really understand or appreciate how poor things are for other Nigerians are at this time when it comes to food. So I really would not want to bother with them. Even for rice, people that be saying they should bring rice. It's not rice, so it's brown horse rice. So if you are going to even bring rice in as a result from that guideline, you are bringing in rice as it's harvested, and you have to mill it in Nigeria. So it's not even the processed finished rice that you are allowed to bring in. You are going to bring it in. When you harvest rice, the shell and all of these things is still at the back. So, and for you to even bring it in, you must have a milling plant that can mill for you to qualify to bring. So from that guideline, it's obvious that these guys don't understand what we're talking about. They live in a different world. Their reality is completely different. I've seen people talking about price gouging, and I'm saying, look, what they are doing is even the reason why we don't have price gouging, because you are creating some form of semi-monopoly for the guys who have the capacity. What we are saying is that, look, this is supposed to be a 6-month intervention, 6 months desperate measure to allow food to come into the country to drop the price of food. 1 month has gone since that announcement. As we speak, the whole policy is still being fine-tuned. Only for the Nigerian Customs Service to come up with net-breaking stringent conditions and make it difficult for anybody to even want to think about doing it, except for a few Nigerians who at the end of the day will still gas Nigerians when it comes to pricing. You open it, the more you create more competition and make it difficult for any form of price gouging that people are talking about. But that's the story of what we are talking about when it comes to taking away duty from imported food. But on the issue of flooding, Sarah, this thing happened last year, remember? It happened last year, it happened the year before.
Previous year, exactly.
Yeah, the previous year. And early this year, even as of late last year, there have been predictions. You understand? There have been predictions that, look, the flooding this year was going to come serious. As we speak now, have you noticed that we have August break now? But people are already saying the weather forecasters are already telling you that look, from September to December we're going to have serious issues, Sandra. Are we doing anything about it? Are we even so intentional about fixing anything? The reason why we have tomato, pepper, prices are dropping a bit now because we are the harvest time. After the harvest season goes, what is left? So, but again, like J.M. Saka wrote in that piece on his Facebook account, I read it too. We are not preparing, we are not even looking ahead. And God forbid, whatever comes worse than what we have now, Sandra, means Nigerians are going to die practically, quote and unquote. How bad can things get again? Apart from what we have now. The crate of egg as we speak, Sandra, is 5,000, the familiar 6,000 naira.
Yes.
A bag of rice 80,000 naira. This is a no-go area for ordinary Nigerians. And so, but these things are there. Apart from insecurity, we are talking about flooding. There's also the issue of drought. There's also the issue of what's it called, desertification. It's a part of the law. So, but in the midst of all of these things we've been talking about, there seems to be no concentration, no intentionality about really fixing those problems and fixing that. And that's what Nigerians are saying that look, as we try to continue to talk about fixing this problem, can you create a temporary measure where we can even bring in food?
Exactly. Allow free passage for produce. But what about...
I know some men now sat on the table and brought up one manner of ridiculous, what I say is extremely ridiculous conditions and guidelines.
It says guidelines. It's not says conditions, just guidelines. But Fuad, what do you think about this suggestion from DME Saka as regards to the fact that maybe the government should liaise with government of neighboring countries like Benin Republic, Togo? Let's work together to see what we can do as regards importation.
That's the kind of what we're saying. Let any Nigerian that has the money to bring in food, go out there and bring in the food. At least temporary measure, that's what we're saying. Where is the price gouging going to come from, Sandra? This guideline itself is the reason why we're going to have price gouging, because it's only the guys who have the capacity to bring in these things and bring it in and create a form of semi-monopoly around it. We're talking about rice now. People are saying, just bring brown horse rice and then you must have a milling plant to mill it. So you're not even bringing processed rice into the country, you are bringing it to come and mill it. And what they will tell you that they are trying to protect the Nigerian farmers. Look, we are saying this is a desperate situation. We understand the need to protect local industry. Nobody is saying that we should not protect ourselves, but we are talking about desperate measures, desperate situations, taking desperate measures. That's what we are saying. Nigerians are hungry. They are dying of hunger in their home. Their pots are empty. Their shelves are empty. They are crying. They are wailing. That's what we are saying.
Huh?
Not for some overfed people. Are you with me, Sandra?
Yes, I am.
Not for some overfed people to now sit on the table and begin to create all manner of unimaginable conditions and net-breaking guidelines. At the end of the day now, January 15, this thing was announced. Here we are almost running the whole of August out. Nothing has still been done. The guidelines are out. They are still trying to tweak with the policy. And before you know it, 2 months, 3 months have gone, nothing has happened. The mystery of Nigeria continues.
Well, there's an agricultural investor in Toro local government of Bauchi State, Bello Yakazi, who said, and I quote, "While the situation we are currently experiencing in the north can be said to be a peculiar one, it is high time that the federal government declared a state of emergency in the country's agricultural sector. We have limited powers over the strange and dynamic play of mother nature, but the little effort we can muster to save ourselves from hunger and starvation must be put in place by all the government agencies. This is not the time for politics." All right. And the Punch went further to say that investigation has shown that continuous rainfall across the region poses a threat to grains and farmlands, which could lead to poor harvest and hunger, as farmers are also battling the scourge of drought. One of the farmers in Rimingado, Malam Musa Sani, said, and I quote, "Since the beginning of August, we have been experiencing heavy rainfall, which lasts for long hours on a daily basis. As you know, too much rainfall does not allow crops to grow speedily. So we fear that once flood occurs, farmers are at risk of losing their crops." So there you go. Insecurity is a problem, and the few ones that can actually go to their farms.
I don't even know, Sandra, whether we are monitoring what is happening at the Lagdo Dam. Remember what
Cameroon.
it cost us years ago. Cameroon Dam, down in Cameroon. That affected about 5 or 6 states. That's also, again, we can talk about these things we intentional about it? Are we focused on it? Are we deliberate about some of these issues? Really, we've talked about building more dams, creating more wetlands to take the excess water when rain falls. Also help with dredging some of our rivers in different parts of the country, dredge them the more so that they can take in more water when rain comes. But are we doing any of that, Sandra? Are we really doing any of that? So it's one thing to evacuate people to save land. But what about crops? Are you evacuate crops? When the flooding comes,
that's the unfortunate truth now, because the report coming in now is that in Bauchi State or thereabouts, about 1 billion naira worth of farm produce and crops have been lost to flooding. 2,700 hectares of farmlands have been washed away by the flood across all the 12 local governments in Jigawa State. Rather, apologies, not Bauchi, Jigawa State.
It's not over yet, Sandra. The rains are still coming.
It's just really unfortunate what we're going through now. So that's the situation on ground now. What is the Minister of Agriculture doing? Where is the Minister of Agriculture, and what exactly are the plans that have been put in place? Because if this continues any further, well, I don't know what we may have to resort to.
The Minister is predicting that we should prepare for other times in 2025. That's what he's saying. And I think it's correct in this report.
Went straight all out to said what is it? Farming, especially with the floods that's coming in now, and also the fact that there are limited states that are still struggling to ensure that they still keep their farming on. Well, the story is on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. You can get further details on from there. Moving on, still on the front page of the Punch, we have here just above the masthead of the Punch newspaper, we have here NNPC battles deepening fuel scarcity, black market booms. The story is on page 23 of the Punch newspaper. So let's see what we have from that particular report. So it says here, the NNPCL has vowed to end the queues. NNPCL has vowed to end the queues for PMS, popularly called petrol, as the black market for PMS boomed on Sunday. They have also declared that did not owe international oil traders $6.8 billion as claimed in some quarters. A development which some industry watchers describe as the major reason for the widespread PMS scarcity, saying they've not been able to pay. I'm sure Fuad, you're caught up with that particular report that they've not been able to. Okay, they've not been able to pay those they buy the refined products from, and that's why that's why we're having this current problem. Scarcity. But despite the national oil firms' assurance that the queues would clear, oil marketers are saying that the loading of products at depot had yet to increase. Black marketers who have taken advantage of the situation are selling as high as 1,200, 1,500 per litre, depending on the area of purchase. As it is now, NNPCL, which is the sole importer of petrol, has blamed the scarcity on evacuation challenges at the PMS
product is a problem again,
vessels. For just some 2 weeks or so ago, I remember you said that anytime this thing was to happen, they just give us notice. So we are currently experiencing evacuation
problems. This one has lasted for almost 3 weeks now, Sandra. That's the problem. How have they been evacuating before? What has changed with evacuation? Have they not been evacuating before? So the period you don't have scarcity, they've not been evacuating. So what is the issue with evacuation? I think they just sit down, manufacture excuses to justify their incompetence. That's what they keep doing. Putting Nigerians through needless suffering. One of our other listeners called me, I think it was on Saturday morning, and he was lamenting, on Sunday morning, and he was lamenting bitterly. Now look, what is happening? Why are these people putting us through this hardship and suffering? They can't build us refineries, they can't give them crude oil, they can't even import projects into the country. What's going on? They told us that we're going to remove subsidy, we're going to allow market forces to do what and that and blah blah blah, everything will be so available, we're going to work everywhere, blah blah blah. Yet nothing is happening. Every day we wake up going through this needless suffering and hardship because some people are just completely incompetent and also extremely corrupt. I bought at 900 naira per litre yesterday, and I've repeated it like 5 times now. And I know why I'm repeating it. It's killing our forces, it's killing our income, making things tough for Nigerians.
Unfortunately, the price of PMS actually controls everything else.
Every other thing.
Everything else. The price of fuel. You go to barb your hair. Oh, I'm sorry, I have to use the generator. I have to fill it.
Public transportation.
You want to buy food as well. You want to go and buy frozen chicken. They say, oh, we have to buy fuel.
There's no power, so they have to use generator.
Exactly. So that's just how we roll apparently in this country now. I'm wondering, what do you think will be fueling the beast? Do you think it's fuel or diesel?
Fueling what? The beast?
Yes. Because it will not be if they are preaching CNG.
Maybe it's running on CNG.
Or is it
nice to know what it runs on.
Is that an electric vehicle?
Yes. It could be e-vehicle. Not impossible. It's a beast, for God's sake.
Well, I'm going to dig deeper into it because
Cadillac Escalade 2024
it's running is a V8 gas engine, but I will dig deep. I'll dig deeper into it.
It's definitely going to be V8. It's not going to be small engine. I think
the V8 gas engine.
I think there's a website called thecartracker.com.
Where you can get all the details.
Complete description. Yeah, if you want to know what
let me help you. 117 liters fuel capacity. That is what. Yes. Let's move on, please. I'm having a headache. All right. This is.
You want to ride on the base, right?
It's 7-man capacity. 7 people can be inside. So I mean.
They're not going to crowd the president's house, really, I'm sure.
It's for comfort and luxury. And his security tight, his armored.
Now that the president has gotten all he wants, Sandra, there's no more excuses. Really. He has to deliver. This a luxurious presidential jet he has gotten. It is a better vehicle to travel in, he has gotten it. You understand? Now that he has the luxury one, I think this is the time for Nigerians to now demand for performance from me. No more excuses, really. Don't you think?
I shall want to see the beast. That's all. In America, they fly the beast everywhere. The American president goes.
No, I will not fly this one. I don't think they
will fly this one. It will not.
No.
So it's only in Nigeria. Do we have good roads for that? Okay, we have good roads in Abuja.
No, you know there are choppers now. It gets to the point where the road is bad. The chopper takes the president wherever he's going.
So the beast is not a beast.
That's what we do, really.
It's alright. Well, the NNPC conversation is on page 23 of the Punch newspaper. Let's move on now. Let's go on to the presidential jet conversation right here, just above the masthead of the Punch. Presidential jet. Abiodun consults federal government as Utomi tackles Amosun. I don't know if you saw the ex post of Patutomi.
Amosun has also replied. Patutomi was also, I think, also there's a video of
there's a lot of back and forth.
Back and forth now between the two men.
But they are friends though. I hope this doesn't soil their friendship, because
friends, they're not. I don't think they're friends again with what they're saying.
With what they're saying, I hope this is not what ended their friendship. But anyways,
it is most likely going to be what has ended their friendship.
That's really
because that's not in public.
But with the revelation of the P&ID issue.
Conversation,
and this Zhongshan issue, it just boils down to the fact that means that and then with the Utomi issue as well, a lot of business owners in Nigeria have seen Shege doing business in this country.
Sandra, when the Total Energy CEO said he was leaving Nigeria for Angola, one of the things he said was that look, policies are matters, inconsistencies, bureaucracy, corruption, frustrating guidelines that we keep coming up with. That's not business friendly. He said it. I said that's the reason why. Look, I can't continue like this. We said it on political roundtable yesterday. Before you go into signing a contract, what are the exit clauses that you put in the contract? Oh, so because it's a new government, you just change everything. You don't understand that government is supposed to be a continuum. So you just come in, and because you are not in the same party or you don't like the things of your predecessor, you just cancel every contract. Just like that. And that's what Patutomi is saying, that he would have to ride with Amosun from Abeokuta to Lagos, and he was explaining to him that look, it's not as if I want the money back. I have obligations to my foreign partners. South Africa.
Yes.
Now it was going to soil my reputation and the reputation of the country when it comes to the ease of doing business. And the man was not even interested. That's the governor Amosun. Look, he's been out there giving all manner of excuses, Sandra. He's been out there giving all manner of excuses, giving all manner of ridiculous explanations to how he just cancel project, cancel contract with people. But I know of a lot of people who have several real estate investments in Ogun State that suffer the same fate. Of people coming in and just terminating contracts. I knew what had happened in the Papala and Ifo area, where a lot of people who had real estate investments, they lost out everything because of people came in the office, revoked everything. And up to now, that same place is there, they have not been able to do anything with it. So it's just what they do. And then is now running ⴘᴜ I don't even know what to do about it.
He has reached out to the federal government in a move to try to resolve the issue. He has reportedly also consulted some top federal officials. And as it is now, multiple Ogun State officials who have confirmed the development because they are not authorized to speak, so on anonymity, of course, said that Abiodun went to Abuja last week Thursday to engage the federal government officials over the seizure of the presidential jets. But the conversation around, Nigeria and breaking international laws, especially with the P&ID, I think maybe we need to revisit that P&ID. People can
the P&ID was a situation where foreign Nigerians had brought in a company to come and defraud the country. So that's a bit different again. Yes, there were contractual obligations here. But again, that was a situation where you had some insiders who want to just swindle the country. But this issue is the fact that, look, from Brigadier Daniel's time too, there was no due diligence. Because this idea of, we were dealing with the wrong company, we didn't know that they are not the right people to deal with, which I'm also saying, questions their ability to also ensure that they do the right thing in checking and rechecking before you sign a contract. If there was a problem with this company, the Chinese embassy is here in Nigeria. Why not speak with them to know whether it's the right company to deal with? And when you eventually found out that there was a problem with the contract, are there no exit clauses? So you think you can just do things anyhow. And that's why when you do things anyhow, there are people that will teach you lessons the hard way. And that's what this Chinese company is doing to us. They started from Nigeria. They went to our court, all of the bureaucracy, the bottlenecks in our court. They took it international and look at the environment they are causing us now. Just because people will refuse to do the right thing, the right way.
Thank you very much, Said Fuad. That story is on page 42, and as we also highlighted, there's been some back and forth from Patutomi and Ibukule Amosu, but Ogun State government
at this time... People should go to X-Handle of Patutomi to see what he's saying.
Exactly. All right.
He said he didn't get on his money. He invested 200 million, got 100 million back. The rest, he didn't see him.
On that same tweet, he even mentioned that there's another Ogun State indigene that unfortunately
committed suicide allegedly because of the same thing.
Because of the same thing. It's just really unfortunate. Well, this is still Mainland 98.3 FM, and you're listening to Trends in the Papers. We're looking through the major stories trending on the front pages of our papers. We're moving on now to the Guardian newspaper, and the major headline on the front page of the Guardian reads: Fuel queues linger as traders await Dangote and NNPCL refineries.
Why are we waiting for Dangote? Why are we so entitled to Dangote?
I'm not even concerned about that. I'm more concerned about people that are waiting for the NNPCL refineries. That's what I'm more concerned about.
The Port Harcourt refinery?
Yes, people are waiting for it.
I'm not waiting. I'm not waiting for it.
We have riders here. We don't have petrol to sell. Marketers cry out. NNPC blames the situation on panic buying. Struggling Struggling fuel stations, depots retrench employees. Await Dangote bailout. So look at that. People are losing.
And we just leave Dangote alone for God. The man is not in pain already. We're going to put this pressure on him again. I'm going to put the pressure on him again.
Nigerians may have to prepare for a worse petrol scarcity as NNPCL depots run out of supply amidst denial of the return of fuel subsidy and accumulated 6.8 billion debt owed to trading partners. Marketers, some of whom have not received products in 18 months, are waiting the commencement of sales by Dangote to resume active business, while there's mass retrenchment in the downstream sector. For people are losing their jobs.
They can't run. They can't get products there.
In this 4,000 naira per pint gari economy.
No, because again, at the downstream level, a lot of these filling stations can't even function. They are not getting enough products. Again, what people don't know is that even when you struggle to get the product, it takes a longer time for you to even sell out your product because it's very expensive. Very, very expensive. I'm sure the filling station are selling at 900 naira per liter now. We only have desperate people like me coming to buy. That's why if you go to the NNPC filling stations and the major marketers, you see a lot of queues there, long queues there. But for the independent marketers, the smaller ones, who are selling at 850, 900, it's going to take, if for example they have 30,000 liters, that takes them a week to sell. Probably it's going to take them like almost 3 weeks to sell now, because you only get desperate people to come and buy from them. So what they do basically is, instead of 4 pumps running, they might probably just one on one pump. So the other attendants and the other 3 pumps will go. That's part of the problem.
NNPCL is blaming the situation. They are
talking about panic buying. What is panic buying?
On distribution challenges and panic buying. And this is the same explanation that they have given previously. But marketers are saying that the prevailing situation may be far from that. Sources at the Depot and Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, that almost all the depots in the country are out of petrol, and some only received 1 cargo in the last 18 months. Most retail stations that are shut down in Lagos, Abuja, and other cities, the petroleum products retail outlets owners association insists they don't have products to sell, stressing that they're only looking forward to the commencement of sales by Dangote refinery. IPMAN members have also said that they are relying on NNPC and depot owners, and they've paid for products, but their consignments have not been delivered. We have here the national president of IPMAN, and I quote, "The challenge is that we rely on NNPCL and depot owners. We have paid, but we are not loading. We are not hoarding products. If we have, we will sell. These private depot owners immediately go there to purchase products from them. They hike the price, so we don't have any alternative than to buy products from them, since we cannot get the required quantity of product that we're supposed to use for our retail outlets." I mean, there's just a lot of revelation here. No product. NNPCL is only rationing, says Gillis Harris. That's the president of Petroleum Products Retail Outlets. But that's the situation as it is now. I think for the past 3 weeks or so, or past 2 weeks.
Yes, 2 weeks running now.
Yes, the first situation has been on ground. More details on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. We also have here on the front page of the Guardian, account for National Assembly running costs. Serap tells Akpabio and Abbas, and that's on page 4 of the Guardian newspaper. So what we have here is the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has asked the Senate President Godswill Akpabio and the Speaker of the House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas to disclose and account for the monthly running costs being paid to and received by members of the National Assembly. They have also urged them to promptly end the alleged practice by the National Assembly of fixing their own salaries, their own allowances and running costs in conformity with the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended and the country's international obligations. They have also urged them to end the alleged practice of paying running costs into the personal accounts of lawmakers and to refer the alleged misuse or mismanagement of the running costs to appropriate anti-corruption agencies for investigation and prosecution. So,
well, it was a major issue on political roundtable yesterday, the first issue.
Yes.
And I doubt if anybody is going to, they understand. Sarah will only do what it's supposed to do. They've been doing a fantastic job, really, Sandra. Whether they win a case or they don't win a case, or they go to court or they don't go to court, they get us thinking about some of these issues. They set the agenda. They call our minds to it. They raise our consciousness about some of these things. And I think we have to celebrate and encourage Sarah for the fantastic job they've been doing. Now, again, it is what it is now. A simple thing as knowing what our federal lawmakers earn has become problematic, Sandra. A very simple thing as to what exactly do you earn. There's been a lot of back and forth. Ralph is saying that, look, the only thing we have approved for them is about 1.something million, which we understand is a complete joke. In reality, it's just a joke. It doesn't even make any sense. But look, one of the senators from Kano State has come out to say that, look, I get 21 million naira a lot every month. And that's not a ranking senator, Sandra. He is not a ranking senator. So God knows what the ranking senators are getting. God even knows what the Senate President will be earning every month. So Serap is saying that, look, let's get your books. Accountability, transparency requires that you tell Nigerians what exactly, and you can't be running your own budget. It's against the law. But I doubt if they are going to be accountable to anybody, because there are no consequences for this thing. Nobody's going to ask them questions. Nobody's going to put them under pressure. We're going to allow it to strike like we allow other things to strike in the past. And so they understand the mood of the nation. They understand how docile we are as a people. And so they're not going to give a hoot. They're not going to care about these things that Serap is saying, because they know that at the end of the day, Nigerians are not going to question them. We are going to allow it to slide.
Thank you very much, Said Fuad. The story is on page 4 of the Guardian newspaper. Account for National Assembly running costs. Serap tells Akpabio and Abbas. Moving on, we've already taken the story, the Utomi versus Amusu as regards trading wars over contract violation and calls for Jets probe.
I'm also saying Utomi was just entitled. It was just entitlement mentality. How would you be so entitled to? I don't know where they're entitled, but for them to have been able to ride in the same car from Ogun to Lagos, this is their friend. The whole thing went south.
It's all right.
Again, for people who don't even know the governor, who are putting investment that have gone south before, how did they seek redress? People lose money from these things to find out. It's very serious. You go into getting contracts, you do all you need to do, and at the end of it, somebody comes in and just cancels the contract or refuse to pay you because the thing was signed by the previous government.
All right, still on trends in the papers this morning. Let's move on to Vanguard newspaper. The major headline there reads, why grains importation won't happen soon. And that's coming from stakeholders. 1 month gone already as federal government fine-tunes policy. Customs awaits list of importers. Stakeholders divided on policy. 100 tons capacity excludes our members, says Rim Farm. That is the report coming from Vanguard newspaper. That's on page 20 of Vanguard newspaper. So that's still on the conversation around the food crisis situation. So let's see what the report says in Vanguard. We have here, there may be delay in implementation of the zero tariff grains importation policy of the federal government, as that, especially since the NCS is yet to receive a comprehensive list of
hope they also delay the 6 months, so it will start to count when they start to implement. If it's about announced, no, that like until you start implementing the 6 months.
Okay, backdate it. Okay.
And they have to now.
Well, as it is now, NCS is saying they are yet to receive a comprehensive list of firms to select for participation in the intervention program. And as it is, the investigations have also revealed that the federal government is still working to fine-tune policy guidelines to address gaps in the earlier document. For instance, the document that was released last week contained details of those qualified to participate in the importation of rice and the type of rice to be imported. According to the guidelines, only husked rice or paddy rice, that's rice grain, as harvested from the farm before milling, will be allowed into the country. The guidelines also stipulate that it will not be an all-comers affair. Set a criteria for those that will be allowed to import the only companies that have capacity to mill 100 tons per day and have been in business for at least 5 years will be allowed to import.
Are they not the ones that will now price gouge Nigeria?
Paddy rice.
Because they are the ones that will gouge Nigerians in terms of pricing. Because how many people have this capacity? How many companies have the capacity to do what they are saying?
Yes. So, that's exactly, thank you, excuse me, that's exactly where I am going now. So, we have, stakeholders are divided over this particular policy, saying quite a lot of, things there. But what we have now is condition. We also have Dr. Muda Yusuf, the MD and founder of Center for Promotion of Private Enterprise, CPPE, explained that the conditions will serve two purposes and ensure the policy is not abused. The conditions were meant to achieve two measures. The first is to ensure that there is no abuse, because if you leave it completely open, all manner of people will come into the space and the whole thing may be abused. So in order to properly streamline,
define what it means by abuse. So they're going to bring in what now? Somebody said they will bring in guns with the right. What's the job of the custom? It's not supposed to. When you bring in things, they're not supposed to check. The only thing is that you don't feel any guilty. So the customs should do their job. So when they say abuse, what exactly is the definition of abuse that Dr. Muda is talking about? What is the abuse? You should define it. Open it up. Let's understand where the abuse is going to come from. And if there's going to be any tendency for abuse, what is the job of the Nigerian custom? They have a job to do to ensure that it's not abuse, so that you only bring in the thing you are permitted to bring in.
Well,
so what's the abuse?
The national president of Rice Millers Association of Nigeria, Rim Farm, Peter Dama, said, and I quote, generally we will not be happy about it. But situation has led to this kind of move by the federal government, and drastic situation needs drastic action. Because of the difficulties our farmers have been having in this country, we have been unable to certify a number of rice mills in this country in terms of supply of this paddy rice. In addition to that, insecurity has befallen a number of farmers. Farmers are very scared. All right. Not only that, the withdrawal of fuel subsidy has caused and led to the high cost of production. So everything is now expensive. Exactly. So we do not have adequate paddy. But then, if the government in its wisdom has decided to import and give to millers at 0% import duty, well, because Nigerians are very hungry, Nigerians do not even have enough, and mills do not have enough, and the mills do not have enough meals in order to sell to Nigerians for feeding, who will not say no. But then, we have to caution that this temporary measure should not be allowed to discourage our local farmers from producing rice in the future. So it is our belief that since it's a temporary measure, let it be a temporary measure while we look at the possibility of so many other things. Now,
we'll be on this back and forth for the next 6 months. You'll see.
What he's majorly concerned about now is the aspect of 100 tons production capacity.
They have to participate. Yeah, they have to have that capacity to even be part of it.
That's what he's concerned about now, saying that there will be some discrimination against the small and medium.
Among millers, you have to have that capacity to be able to participate.
The small and the modular rice millers, they are the ones who are actually feeding the nation, but they don't have that 100 tons.
They have been taken out of the condition.
Yes.
You see the problem now.
And they are the major people who are actually feeding the nation.
So even if you bring the brand of paddy rice, it has to be for the people who can do 100 tons.
And those they are very few, according to the Rice Millers Association now.
And so let Nigerians go and take care of themselves. Let's not.
All right, we'll take a short break at this point now. We are totally out of time as regards trends in the papers. When we come back, we carry on the conversation with Mainland Focus, where you, our dear listener, you get to be part of the conversation. This is Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos.
You're listening to